Morning again, everyone. The only thing we're not able to do is to live stream this since we're going out into the desert. But here we go. We're gonna leave Column Hinge and take a morning walk with you. Let me explain to you why we're doing this and how this came about. There were two events yesterday that really moved me, and Leslie and I were talking about them this morning. The first one was when there's a woman from New York. I saw her come up on my feed. And she was doing part of a virtual cocktail hour. I thought that was so sweet, but it was also so sad and so moving. Sorry about that. We had a wrangle line here.
Okay, I'm gonna get on the other side of you.
That's a good idea.
Thank you. That's better. Now.
Since he seems to, now I want to go that way.
No.
Of course. Of course. So, yeah, you know, my goodness, the people who live in Manhattan, the people who live in New York, they can't even go outside right now. It's so sad. And then there was another thing that happened, and that was we were watching yesterday the news, and we saw how in the UK the police are chasing people back out of nature. They're not even allowed to take a walk in nature.
Oh look, here's some donkey footprints.
Yeah, we had donkeys last night in the Hinge. We saw the donkey poop this morning.
See? Right there.
Right. So we decided that since you can't go out, for those of you who can't go out, we would take a walk with you this morning. We'll go out and we'll take the camera with us, and you can be with us on our morning walk in the desert. So this is for you, those of you who can't go outside today. We're bringing you with us. May God bless you wherever you are. May this be a blessing to you. We'll make it a short walk today. We're so blessed that we have this desert nearby where you'll never run into anyone. The mountain over there, folks, is called Shadow Mountain. The local Indians here call it No Pa. No Pa means no water. The word Pa in the Shoshone language means water. No Pa, no water. Pa Rump, lots of water, because this is a this town is rich in underground water. That's why there's a town here. There's always been water here. So now when we come by the salt cedars, we come into the open desert. What did you find, Leslie?
Oh, I was going to show you here. Here's where the donkeys were coming through. But look, I wanted to show you.
Baby donkeys.
Look, they're the prints of a foal. See? See how tiny they are in comparison with the adult? See, here's the adult hoof mark. And then right there's the little foal. Isn't that cute?
They came into our hinge last night. They like our hinge. I noticed a couple of things. They left some poop in the hinge, and they also knocked over part of our fire pit. Clearly they were trying to graze in the fire pit last night.
Sometimes we put spoils from the field there in the fall, but they check it for weeds and tumbleweeds.
They were hoping for some of our sorghum cane. They love our sorghum cane.
That's true.
Unfortunately. Tell them what happened last year, Leslie.
Last year they cleared the field overnight.
We had already harvested, thank God.
Right, so, you know, it was the leftover sorghum that we were going to
feed the bulls.
Right.
And the donkeys got to a bunch of it first. Our neighbors raise bulls across the street, bucking bulls. So we always give them at the end of the season what's left over from the sorghum.
Uh-huh.
The bulls love it.
Yes, they do. There's a lot of different plants here in the desert. This one is called shad scale, and it's very, very salty. This one is getting ready to bloom. See the little pink as it touches it? All those pink spots are going to bloom into flowers. It'll be very beautiful once it gets going. We had a frost this morning, and frost is interesting. It's especially in the desert because when it melts, it is so wet that it makes it look like wells are springing up under each plant.
I think we'll just film on the way out, and then on the way back not, because we have the light in our faces.
Oh, okay.
Trying to keep mine out of your way, but our dog is pretty chaotic on these walks.
He's following the rabbits.
His way is not that easy.
Here, let me show you what I mean about how the water pools up. You see? Right under the plant. There are probably better examples. Right now, the trail that we're following, you can see there's an actual trail here. This is a donkey trail and a human trail. Right now, we are on BLM land, Bureau of Land Management. These are public lands, and you can come out here and go shooting or four-wheeling or hiking or horseback riding, picnicking, camping, collecting firewood, anything you want to do. BLM is public lands for us to enjoy. Looking north up the Pahrump Valley. This is one of the larger valleys in southern Nevada. Nopa Mountain is made of sedimentary rocks and some metamorphic. Primarily, it's dolomite. That big black stripe is called dolomite. It's similar to limestone, but has a higher magnesium content, which is what turns it black. You can see as we get further away from the salt cedars and closer to the alluvial fan of the mountain, the plants start to change, and instead of having so much shad scale, now we're starting to run into salt brush. And soon the salt brush will give way to creosote. That's the green line that you see out in the distance. Now, distances are very deceptive.
That creosote line looks really close, but it's not.
No, as long as we have already walked, we will have to walk again. So, you know, it's not so bad. Another 10, 15 minutes.
Right. Well, I don't think we're going to go that far today, Leslie, but...
Oh,
oh
look, here's what I was talking
about.
There
we go. Perfect.
Here, see? I was talking about how you can see the frost, how when the frost melts in these low spots, the water pools up. And this is where the real life in the desert is. You see, right over here?
Right.
Right? Okay, so this is the beginning of desert patina. That's a black fungus that is the first step in turning soil into usable dirt for things to grow in. This lichen, it actually eats silicone and minerals and turns those into organic material that then allows the grass to begin growing. The grass collects the dew. The dew germinates the seeds of the shad scale and the creosote and the other plants in the desert, and then things start to become established, you see.
Right.
And you'll notice wherever you see a plant, there's a little mound. Now that's not because the plants themselves grow on mounds. The plants create the mound. Do you want to... The plants themselves create the mound, and that's because we have so many dust storms. When the dust blows, it hits the plant, and then the wind drops its load of dust. So, the more plants there are, the more dust actually falls to the ground, and the more soil collects. So it is the plants themselves that build the environment here in the desert. Life. Yes, life building on life. Oh, here's one that's almost and completely ready to bloom. Look at that. See all that gorgeous color there?
How beautiful, Leslie.
It really is. Here's a lizard's home. You see? See how the lizard has knocked out all the dust and lives right there? He's come out of hibernation because it's finally warm enough. We'll see lots of holes like that. Oh, different things come out of different holes. Owls, squirrels, spiders, lizards, snakes. Foxes.
The burrowing owls are really cute.
Oh, they are. Everything lives in a hole in the desert except the people.
Well, yeah, it's so hot in the summertime. They have to. They got to protect themselves any way they can.
And underground is cool. And here in Pahrump, underground is also moist. It's a lot wetter than people expect.
So you see that creosote's getting closer, folks. By the way, you should smell the desert right after a rain. It's absolutely marvelous out here. We're so happy we can share this walk with you. There's so many people that just can't go outside today. We're under lockdown here in Nye County as well, but at least we're allowed to go outside.
And there are mushrooms in the desert. These are puffball mushrooms. They're edible. They were eaten by the natives. See? And when, oh, there, see? You see the smoke? Puffballs. That's all the bigger they get around here. There are some places where those puffball mushrooms get as big as a soccer ball.
Yep.
I love taking walks out in the desert.
Oh, especially after a rain. It smells so good out here after a fresh rain in the desert.
The creosote has a very unique odor that once you've smelled it once, you always associate that with the desert.
Ah, we see the creosote getting closer and closer now. See it there, folks? Isn't it beautiful? You can begin to smell it here too already. Even though it hasn't rained, you can smell it.
Oh, when the sun hits it, it's so nice. You see here, there aren't many shrubs, and that has to do with the fact that, oh look, here you go. This is a donkey wallow.
Uh-oh.
Look at that.
Yeah, those little Setians have been out here.
You see where it's all scuffed up? How the ground looks different in that one spot? This is something almost all hooved animals do. So whether you're a deer hunter or just looking for donkeys or other signs, this is where they get down, they roll around in the dust, get their coat covered in dust, and it helps rid themselves of oil and dirt and filth, you know, but also pests, because the soil here is very alkaline. It's like having a baking soda dusting, and it knocks off a lot of the parasites, kills bacteria and funguses that might be growing on the donkeys.
Well, here we are. We're at the edge of the creosote forest, and there's our turning bush.
Yes.
This is where we always turn around.
Well, this is also where the BLM rangers turn around, so there's
Right.
so there's lots of tire tracks right here.
When we get to the road here.
Right, but you'll get a close-up. Here's...
You get a chance to look at this creosote bush, though.
Right.
So you see this famous creosote we've been talking about.
The turning bush. All right.
So, here's our creosote tree at the beginning. Show them that forest out there too, Leslie.
Yeah.
That whole creosote forest out there, it's huge.
See all that line of green
Here at the
there?
foot of the mountains, at the foot of Shadow Mountain.
All that is creosote forest as far as you can see. All the way out through here. Now we call it a forest. To be fair, it is
More like
no
a bunch
more
of
than
shrubs.
waist high.
Right.
You know, as you get deeper back in there, as you get back in, there are those that are over our heads, but
Right.
it is the desert. Everything except stone is on a smaller scale.
Well, folks, let's get a final shot of Shadow Mountain
Okay.
here.
Well, I was going to show them this creosote real close. See how greasy it is? It's a very greasy, oily plant, and it's stiff and hard, too.
Now, the Indians used that to get rid of worms, didn't they?
Yes, worms and syphilis and abscessed teeth and...
Now, don't they use it also to, like, coat telephone poles today or something?
Yes, today boiled creosote is smeared on wood in order to preserve it from pests. And that's exactly why the creosote bush smells the way it does and produces that particular pitch, because it prevents things from eating it. It has a very strong taste. It's very medicinal, but it is, wow, it's definitely tastes bad. Bad. It is terrible. It is bitter, bitter.
So we hope that you folks really enjoyed this walk with us in the desert today. It's such a simple thing, but at the same time, at a time when humanity is imprisoned on this planet like never before, imprisoned in our homes in many cases, these simple things matter. So today we thought we'd bring you along. So we hope you enjoyed our desert walk to Shadow Mountain.
Yes. So we'll be turning around
And closing.
and heading towards home. You can't see home from here. We're actually, that line right there, we're actually past it. I thought you might like to see just how far.
we'd come in this short time.
Here we are back at the Salt Cedar line.
Yep, and there's Column Hinge in the distance. We're almost back now. And there's Column Hinge.
Isn't it beautiful?
An oasis in the middle of the desert.
Yes.
Welcome to Columnhenge.
Back home.
Shining beacon of light in the darkness.
Yes.
They say with all the work we've been doing here at Columnhenge, you can see these 12 pillars lit up from miles away on the astral.
What a great walk that was.
So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming out.
And remember, have faith and expect a miracle.
And until we have the pleasure of each other's company again, may all your magics work better than expected.